There you are. So I just start by recording this call, and we're going to be talking about how to play certain hands when you have a weak trump suit. And I'm going to share my screen with you to start with. And actually, we're going to start with a bidding question for you all, which I'd like you to answer via a poll. So don't answer this verbally, but have a look at the east hand here, where South has opened one heart. It's gone pass, pass over to you. And the question for you is, what's your bid? So I'm going to launch the poll now and see if you can tell me what you would choose for East's bid. Just pick one of the options there. Those of you who've just joined us.
Tony, I didn't get the link.
Those of you who've just joined us, there's a poll there with what to bid there. And if you've minimized the poll, you can click on it again to relaunch the poll.
Tony, this is Fiona. What I wanted to reply is not on the poll.
Okay, tell us afterwards what it is.
Okay.
I'm very interested to hear.
Tony, how can I change my bid?
I think you can. Just click on another one.
Where do I do that?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
I think I have seen, the reason I say I think you can change your bid is sometimes I see votes, the percentage go down. So it's though someone has taken away their vote. So maybe you can do that. But don't worry if whatever you said, because we can, it's all anonymous and we're not going to hold it against you. But I will ask Fiona at the end of it what she would say. Okay, so we've had 77% of you, 80% of you have now voted. And we're going to end the polling in a minute and share the results with you. So here are the results. The majority, 50%, have gone for pass, with 32% going for double, 7% for one no Trump, 7% for two clubs, and one person voted for two hearts. And I'm going to also ask Fiona, what was your choice?
Oh, sorry, Tony. I just very quickly came in on it. I thought I was responding to
something. Oh, no.
So I was going to use Jacobi.
Oh, yes. Okay, no.
Not the right thing at all.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So, so that's fine. That's fine. So, yeah, most of you have gone for pass, and let's go through the options on here. I mean, you'd like to bid something with this hand because you've got 12 points, but the double, of course, will be for takeout, and your partner, it's asking your partner to bid their best suit, which on this hand they may end up bidding spades, as it turns out. The bid, I think pass is a reasonable bid, but let's go through the other options. Well, I don't like bidding two clubs there, because really that should be a 5-card suit, although I understand you don't want to, you might want to bid something. One person voted for two hearts, and that's a poor choice, right? I mean, bidding the opponent's suit is actually, we use a convention for that normally. It's an artificial bid to make your partner bid something. So you wouldn't want to bid two hearts on this hand. I mean, by the way, if you think you can make two hearts, east-west, then wouldn't you just want to try and defeat one heart their way? One no Trump is perhaps a reasonable bid. One no Trump has an overcall is normally 15 to 17, but in this position where you're the pass-out seat, it's a bit weaker. It's more like 12 to 14, like a normal weak no trump. Though your hand isn't particularly balanced, you certainly do have a very good heart stopper. So the problem with bidding something, the problem with doubling, is that you have a very good heart holding. And if you bid again, perhaps by doubling, it's quite likely that the opponents will find a better fit somewhere. Your partner couldn't overcall here, and with such a good heart suit, you will probably do better to let them play in one heart than open the bidding again and give them a chance to find a better fit. They almost certainly will have a better fit somewhere than in hearts, and if that's a problem with bidding, that they will have a chance to find it. On the upside, you may find a fit with your partner and be able to outbid them and make something. But on balance, I think I would pass this. Okay. Anyway, let's suppose you do pass, which was the majority choice. And let's have a look at this from declarer's point of view. So this is the south hand here, and the opponents lead the king of clubs. And this is a kind of hand I want to look at this evening. One where you're playing in a heart suit, and you've really got a terrible heart fit. You've got a very weak trump suit between you and dummy. And there often are slightly different ways that you should play this, rather than perhaps by your normal approach of drawing trumps. I mean, in fact, you've got such weak trumps here, with only 5 in your hand and 1 in dummy, that you'll find it very difficult to draw the opponent's trumps. So in a situation like this, probably your best bet is to cash any winners you can and to use your trumps in your hand. You've got the ace, 10, 8, 5, 2, mainly for ruffing. In other words, if I can ruff with those low trump, rather than trying to draw trumps, I may be able to make more tricks here. So let's see how it goes. Let's suppose they lead the king of clubs, and you follow to that one, and suppose they play another club, which you ruff. Well, now your trumps are even weaker, if you like. And, on a hand like this, I would normally be thinking about drawing trumps so I can cash my diamonds, but I really can't do that because my trumps are so weak. What I'm going to do instead is, if I've got those 2 clubs in dummy, the 9 and the 6, and if I could ruff both of those, then maybe I can make two trumps that, which I would probably struggle to make all those. I definitely wouldn't be able to make all those trumps if I use my trumps to draw the opponent, because they've got better trumps than I have. So if you start drawing trumps on this hand, which is a reasonable thing to do, you certainly don't want to draw too many of them. You might, for example, play a low round of trump, just to get rid of a couple of their trumps. If they play a spade now you could play your ace, which again gets rid of 2 of their trump. And now this is a good point to stop drawing trumps. You've got the 10 and the 8 left in your hand. You're not going to be able to draw the opponent's trumps with those weak trumps. What I'm going to do instead is try and use them to ruff clubs with. So what I'm going to do is cross over to dummy, let's say the jack of diamonds, lead another club, which I'm going to ruff, and hopefully I can get to dummy with the queen of diamonds and play another club, which I'm going to ruff with my last trump. And I've made 7 tricks here now, so I've made my contract, but I will not be able to make many more after this. If I bring up the 4 hands, you can see the best I can do now is to cash the ace of spades, and if I take that, that's going to be it, because East there has got the top 3 trumps. So whatever I play now, they're going to take the last 3 tricks. But nonetheless, I'll be able to make 8 tricks with this hand. Anyone have any comments on this one?
Tony, I'm not happy with 1 heart. bid because East has got such a beautiful hand. Why
So
can't
what?
he
Yes.
double and say it's for penalty?
You
And
can't. You can't. A double of one heart is the takeout. And on this hand, your partner will probably respond in spades. Okay? So a double of one heart is for takeout. It's not for penalty.
then in that case, I think club would be a better bid. Looking at West's hand,
So
maybe
who's going to bid clubs?
East.
So you're going to overcall two clubs.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
there are four, but
Yeah. So
sometimes break a rule, isn't it?
right. Well, that was why I launched the question originally, because East has a tricky decision to make, and no bid is perfect. The problem with opening the bidding with two clubs, let's say, is that South will probably bid two diamonds now. And although you have a fit in clubs, you can make something in clubs. They can make something in diamonds. In fact, I think the computer found that North-South can make 10 tricks in diamonds. And obviously they'll do much better there than if you're left to play it in one heart. But if East does pass and you're left to play it in one heart, then it's probably best not to try to draw trumps here or to limit your drawing of trumps, and instead to use your trumps for roughing.
Tony?
Yeah?
Why did you draw trumps at all?
Okay. Well, there's some advantage in drawing some trumps here. So, in other words, if I draw 2 rounds of trumps in a situation like this, I'm at least getting rid of all the trumps from the West hand and just leaving the high trumps in the East hand. And my goal on this hand was really to rough 3 clubs. So if I can rough 3 clubs, that's probably the best I can do. I won't be able to take my 4 diamond tricks because East will be able to rough that. But it could be a good idea. I mean, you could just start off. You could just rough the clubs to start with, but ultimately, that's probably your best chance to 8 tricks to rough the clubs. And you draw trumps so that you can't get roughed in both hands, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Would you consider playing the diamonds and letting them use up some of the trumps to trump?
Yes. I mean, let's just look at this how I've got it set up. There are some other hands coming up that might be similar to this. Let's have a look at this hand played in a similar way, but where you make the mistake of trying to draw all the trumps. So this is the same hand, but here, after you've taken your ace of hearts, I hope you can see that if you were to now draw another round of trumps, it will be a bit of a disaster, because East has got better trumps than you. They'll win that trick. In fact, they will draw your last trump, okay, and then they'll be able to cash any winners they have with you being unable to rough anything. You'll be out of trumps, so they'll be able to take two clubs at least. You can get in with your ace of spades, and you'll be able to take 2 diamonds, but they've still got a trump, and you'd be held to 6 tricks if you played it that way. So it basically calls for some careful handling where you have such weak trumps as this, and we're going to look at a couple more examples on this theme. Let's have a look at this one, where your partner has opened 1 no trump, and you bid 2 clubs. Now, here you've got 12 points. You might well be thinking of going to game here. You bid 2 clubs as Stayman. Your partner doesn't have a 4-card major, so bids 2 diamonds. And now you bid 3 hearts. That should show a 5-card heart suit, and your partner goes to 4 hearts on this. So let's have a look at this one. We're going to look at this actually played 3 different ways. and see what your plan is on this hand. So if we look at my own hand here, I can see I've got some spade losers there. My heart situation is not that great. I've got the ace and the queen, so I'm a little bit weak in trump. I've got one diamond loser, but I do have all these clubs. So one way you may plan to try and make this hand is to cash the clubs. And of course, you won't really be able to do that unless you've drawn trump. So let's see how it goes. Let's suppose you win the first trick with the ace, and let's suppose you decide to draw trumps here. How are you going to play the trumps? What's a good way to try and draw the opponent's trumps? Well, you might hope that West has got the king of hearts. In that case, you might be able to make a trick with the queen and then the ace. So let's suppose you try that. You play the queen, and unfortunately, it loses to the king. And now I hope you can see your trumps are really pretty weak here, because you were unlucky with the position of the king. See what happens now. The opponents might cash a diamond and maybe play a spade. Okay, and what the position we're in now is we've drawn one round of trumps, and we'd like to cash those clubs, but our hearts are somewhat weak. Now, what we are hoping for, we started off with 8 trumps, so the opponent started off with 5. We've drawn one round. There are 3 trump outstanding, and it looks like we're going to lose at least one more trump here. So what we might do in this case is we've drawn one round trump, but win the second round with the ace. Okay, and now there's just one high trump out, and what we're going to try and do is leave it out and see if we can cash our clubs here. So we're not going to draw this last trump. It's a high trump. It's always a good rule of thumb when there's one high trump out not to draw it, and it's certainly the case here. So we're just going to see if we can cash some clubs here. So we'll play the clubs, and we're at some point the opponents may have a chance to ruff and spoil our plan, but we're just hoping that in the meantime we are able to discard as many spade losers as we can. And if you're lucky on the distribution, they won't be able to ruff till you've discarded your spades, and you might be able to just make 10 tricks. It's a very tricky one, this one, especially as the hearts are quite weak. We can look at this played 3 different ways. So let's look at this played a slightly different way, where we start off the same as before. They take their we lead a heart, they take their diamond, they switch to a spade, and again, this is a situation where we need to not draw all the trumps. If we lead a heart and then make the mistake of playing another heart, they'll get in, and now we have no chance to avoid those spade losers. They're going to take 3 spades here, okay, and when they play a diamond, we can get in, but we'd actually only make 7 tricks. We'd go down 3 if we tried to draw all the opponent's trumps there. So the first one, we tried just drawing 2 rounds of trumps. This time we tried drawing all the trumps, and I just also would like to have a look at this one and see what happens if you don't draw any trumps. So let's suppose we just do what we did. We draw 1 round of trumps, say with the queen, and then we decide when they get back in, we win the ace. And you might then try to cash your clubs, but if you do without drawing a second round of trumps,
Yeah.
you increase the chance that here West will be able to ruff earlier on, okay, and then again that spoils your clubs. They'll be able to take their spades. Even if you don't lose any more hearts here, you will be held to 8 tricks there. So on this one, this third time we played this, what we did was we drew 1 round of trumps and then we didn't draw any more, and that wasn't a good strategy either. It's very difficult, this one, because you've got 4 trumps, and once you discover that if the queen loses to the king, you're then quite vulnerable, and your only chance there is probably to draw 1 round and then try to catch as many clubs as you can get away with. Anyone have any comments or observations on this one?
Tony, I'm just thinking, why, when they receive a negative answer to Stayman, why would North not go, or South go 3 no trump rather
Okay.
than hearts?
Okay, so if you play, if you're playing Stayman, but have a 4-card suit and a 5-card suit, this is how you show it. You bid Stayman first. If you don't find a fit in either major, then if you had, because you have a strong hand, you jump to 3 hearts, and that's how you show 5 hearts and 4 spades. Okay.
Can I
So-
ask one question?
Yeah, so just to finish off Roz's question, so in other words, we're trying to find an 8-card fit in a major, and this is how you show your distribution if you're playing Stayman. You can do it in a slightly different way if you're playing transfers, and there again, you would still end up in 4 hearts on this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Shobha?
Yeah, can you do one thing that you do 2 clubs and you announce that it is natural, it's not a Stayman?
I'm not with you.
No, partner has opened 1 no trump. You have done 2 clubs because
Yeah.
you have got very nice clubs. And
No, it's South has bid 2 clubs and it's Stayman.
Okay. North has bid 1 no trump. Okay, lovely.
Right.
But
Any other
normally,
questions?
can you do this? Suppose it was other way around.
No.
You have done 1 no trump. No.
No, if you play Stayman, you always play 2 clubs as Stayman.
Okay.
You can't play it as natural. Any other
There is
questions?
no other way. There is no other way to get round.
I don't know what you're trying to get round.
To show your points and your
Well,
clubs.
Transfers. 2 spades would show the other person saying 3 clubs.
Yeah, but you want to be in game on this hand.
Hmm.
So you don't want to sign off in 3 clubs here.
Yeah.
North
You're
has
right.
opened 1 no trump here. So South is looking for a major suit fit. So that's why they did Stayman. Okay, any other questions on that one? So again, slightly tricky one there, but a similar principle that if you're going to draw trumps, with a relatively weak hand, it's often going to let 1 trump go, but win the second one, and then if there's a high trump, then leave it out. That's often a good idea when you've got weak trumps. And let's have a look at this last one. And here again, we've used Stayman. South here opened 1 no trump. And this is a kind of hand where you can use Stayman with a weak hand. You only have 6 points here, but you bid Stayman planning to pass whatever your partner responds. So 2 clubs, ask your partner, do you have a 4-card major? If they respond in 2 hearts or 2 spades, you would pass that. And if they respond to 2 diamonds, you would pass that. So you end up in 2 spades on this hand because South has a 4-card spade suit. Okay. Any comments on that bidding?
That's fine.
So let's have a look at this hand. Let's suppose you play in 2 spades and West leads the Queen of Hearts. And let's see if you can make a plan on this hand. And what I'd like you to do is look at the hand from South's point of view, but taking into account all the high cards in dummy in the North hand, and tell me how many losers you expect. So take a minute and then verbally answer how many losers you expect here.
4.
7.
4. 4.
7.
4.
4.
So let's go through it. We've got how many spade losers?
2.
Yeah, I mean, we have, it depends on how they divide, doesn't it? If they divide badly, then we may have more. But we have 8 trump between us. That means your opponents have got 5. And if they divide normally a 3-2 break, we would expect to lose 2 tricks there. We expect to lose 2 spades. Do we have any heart losers?
1.
2.
The answer is just 1 in this hand, because we've got the ace, and then we've got 1 after that. So if we're able to ruff after that, we'll just lose 1 trick there. So 2 spades, 1 heart. Would you expect to lose any diamonds?
No.
No, we don't lose any diamonds. And in this hand, we have 3 club losers. Okay? However, those of you who've said that so on the face of it, that comes to 6 losers. But we're not going to lose all those clubs, are we? Because we're going to ruff some of them in dummy. In fact, we hope to ruff twice in dummy, and that would reduce our losers to just 2 spades, 1 heart, and 1 club. In other words, if we can ruff 2 clubs, we only will lose 1 club, 1 heart, and 2 spades. In other words, we would hope to make 9 tricks here if we can hold our club losers to 1. Okay? So how are we going to do that? Let's win the first one, and we at some point are going to want to draw trumps on this hand. And the reason I say that is if we don't draw trumps at all, some of you might be thinking about cross-ruffing the hand, we won't be able to cash 4 diamonds. Do you see that? We do need to draw trumps at some point, but we still want to ruff 2 clubs. So what we're going to do is, let's suppose we play a club, okay? They win that one, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if the defence, having seen that what I'm doing, that I'm playing clubs, and remember they can see dummy, they might decide to draw trumps, okay? Now, you just have to think a little bit about this, about whether to take your ace, because what we actually want to do is we want to draw 2 rounds of trumps, but we don't want to draw 3 rounds because then we won't be able to ruff any clubs. So you can do this a variety of ways. One thing you could do is let this one go, let them win that. But if they play another round, then we'll win that. Okay? And now we've done a good thing again of winning the second trump with a high trump. There's 1 high trump out, and we're not going to draw it. We're just going to do our club ruff. So that's what we'll do here. We'll ruff the club here. We can come back to our hand maybe with a diamond, and we can ruff another club with our last trump. And there's still a trump out, but we're just going to let them ruff with that whenever they want. We're going to take our diamond tricks. Okay. At some point, okay, they still haven't ruffed, so we'll just keep taking our diamonds. They're going to ruff in the end with their last high trump, but now we'll only just lose one more heart trick, and as we planned, as we hoped, we'll make our 9 tricks there. So this was a similar idea to the other one of with weak trumps here, you know, if you want to let them win one, and then win the second one yourself, and then leave that last high trump out. And with normal distribution like that, you should be able to make 9 tricks there. You could also do the club ruffs earlier on, but so that would work too. But what you don't want to do here is draw all the opponent's trumps, especially when you've got such weak trumps yourself. Any comments or questions on that? So playing hands with weak trumps does often require some careful handling, and very often you won't be drawing trumps as you might be in a normal situation, and instead you might be using your trumps to ruff with.
Sure.
Anyone have any comments on that? What we'll do there?
Tony,
Yeah.
when just recapping a bit, when you've got, if you're playing transfers and you've got 5 and 4 in the majors,
Yeah.
you transfer to the 5 card first and then bid the 4. Is it that way
Right.
around?
Okay, so if you're playing transfers as well as Damon, on a hand where you want to bid game, where you want to force the game, you transfer and then bid your other suit. So on this hand, if it went 1 no trump, with the 5 card suit, you would bid diamonds, your partner would bid 2 hearts, and then you would bid your spade suit, and that's how you would show 5-4 with enough points for game. If you're playing transfers and you bid it this way instead, then that 3 heart bid becomes an invitational bid and not a forcing bid. But if you're not playing transfers, this 3 heart bid is forcing. So I'm afraid it's a bit complicated, but playing transfers allows you to show this same distribution with a forcing enough points for game, or to bid this way, which would be an invitational hand.
Right.
Sorry, it's a little complicated, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
But that's how it's normally used. That's how you can show your distribution and either force game or make an invitation bid. If you're not playing transfers, then this 3 heart bid is forcing, and your partner will either bid 3 no trump or 4 hearts. Any questions on that?
Yes, Tony,
Yeah.
just to go back to the very first hand with the pole,
Yes.
if you bid 1 no trump in the pass out seat with 12 to 14, do you have to
Yes.
alert that?
No, that's considered normal. So
It's okay.
it's just like any other bid in the pass out seat. It's a little bit weaker, about 3 points weaker than normally would be.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So what we'll do in a minute, I just want to ask if anyone here needs a partner. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen with you.
I need
And-
partner, Tony.
Yeah.
It's ready